When I quit my job to farm full-time, one of the things that I wanted to do was daily pasture moves with my cattle. I've seen other people do this in the past, and I've always thought that the premise really made sense and that it could really work to help improve my pasture. While I was working though, I just really didn't have the time to commit to doing this, but now I do. So this year I've actually already started with my rotational grazing, and today is another move day because every day is a move day. So let's go run down and put them on some fresh grass. Oh, and I got my pallet of Redmond garlic salt blocks for the year, so I think today I'm going to distribute those out to all the cattle in all the different places that they're spread out and get them going on those nice fresh salt blocks. That's what's going on today on Farmertylerranch. So I think I'll run a couple down to where the cows are at, but I don't want to forget the big boy. He needs one too. Now it might look like I'm just throwing that salt block in any old random spot, but it's actually a carefully selected spot. I want to make sure that I'm near water because that's going to help them with intake. All right, let's go take care of the cows.
Are you ready?
I'm out here in the field now. I'm guessing that the cows are too far away. You probably can't see them, but before we get them moved, I have to get my next wire set up. Now, I expect by the end of this grazing season, I will be incredibly proficient at putting up a hot wire fence, but right now I'm still kind of like learning my groove. So yeah, let's get this next fence up and get them moved over. I'm down here at the far end of what will soon be my electric fence, and there's two kind of challenges that I've been trying to figure out the best way to handle them. And one is getting the wire across this ditch here at the end of the pasture. The other is hooking the wire to this fence in such a way that I can connect it with a jumper wire. Getting across the ditch is not a huge deal. If I use enough fiberglass posts, I can usually get that wire to stay at a good height so that nobody can duck under it or step over it. But getting hooked up to that fence is where I'm having to get a little bit more creative. Now, I'm sure that there's a company out there that makes a piece of equipment that would make this super easy, but that doesn't really do me any good right here, right now, today. So what I've kind of determined is that I have a bunch of these spent barbed wire reels in the back of the side-by-side, because as you can see, I never clean anything out of here. But that's actually kind of worked out in my favor this time, because I think I can take this, which is a piece of one of those spent reels, and I can sort of bend it up to make a nice hook that'll hook onto that T-post, and then I can tie the wire to it.
If we go like that. Let's say like
so I think that can hook on a T-post pretty well. We really just kind of need a hook. I don't know. That looks like it could work. this end hooks on the T-post, and then this end would hook the wire, like so. You can see here that last year I used the T-post to kind of get over this ditch, but this year I think that I want to try to kind of move away from T-posts unless I absolutely need them. And so far the only place that I figured out that I really need them is where I make my corner down there, because that wire kind of pulls on the T-post in two different directions. So you need something with a little bit of rigidity. A fiberglass post is not going to cut it right there. So I'm going to pull this one out, and then I've been thinking about, for the T-posts that I do need to keep using, to maybe get like some PVC pipe that'll slip over the top of them. And then that way I really eliminate any sort of potential grounding. I know last year I did have some trouble with these T-posts going across the ditch with the grounding, and that's why I want to get rid of, or not get rid of them, but I want to move away from using them. The PVC pipe idea I actually think is pretty good, but you know, it's like anything, it's just a matter of going to town and buying it. Oh yeah, that one's stuck. Thought I could pull it out. It ain't gonna happen. Well, I had to chop some weeds and use quite a few more fiberglass posts than I wanted to, but it looks like we're across a ditch, and it actually looks pretty good, and we're not touching anything. I've noticed in the past, when I run the wire through here, you know, there's a bunch of weeds and stuff growing in the ditch that the cows don't want to eat, and those are just, you know, thousands of little grounding rods. So I think this year I'll try to be a little more diligent about getting down here with the weed whacker and cutting these down to keep them off of the wire. But for now, this wire looks good, so we can go ahead and run it out the rest of the way. I'm up here at the top of the field again, and this is what I was kind of talking about before about needing the T-post. I've got to put one in right here so that I can run the wire back to the north end of the field. And the reason that I can't just head it off right here at the end is because their waterer is down there, so I need to leave a little lane here at the end of the field so that they can walk back and get water. This is probably kind of leads me into the thing that I don't like about this style of rotational grazing, is I get trails here really bad going back to the water trough, and I don't like it. But there's really not a whole lot I can do about it, because that's just what cattle do. Once they get a little trail established, that's the way they're gonna go. For now, I'm gonna hook my reel on my little hook here. And the reason that I'm doing that is that it sort of puts some tension on that wire, and I can go back up this line and put the posts in, and I know that I'm somewhat straight. Now I just got to do that a bunch more times. I've got this wire up and ready to go, and the cows have been watching me work out here the whole time. And do you hear that? Silence. What I'm getting at is they're not hungry. Usually, if they're ready to move pastures and they see me out here working, they'll be in my face bawling at me the whole time. But right now, they're all laying down and staying quiet. And those are two ways to tell that they are completely content and they're just not ready to move yet. Now, I know in the beginning of the video, I said my whole goal this year was daily pasture moves, and that is still true. But I'm setting up my paddock sizes to accommodate my entire herd, and keep in mind that over half of them are not here right now. So these paddock sizes that I'm setting up for them are actually bigger than what they really need to be for a daily move. So really, it comes as no surprise that they can get 2 days on these, and you know, at the end of day 2, they'll probably be ready to move into the next one. Trying to move them today, it's just not worth the trouble. If they don't want to do it, trying to make them do it is just kind of a headache. So it's a lot easier when they're cooperative and they want to go into the next one. So I think I'm going to drop my salt blocks off here at the water trough, and we'll come back tomorrow and get these girls moved. All right, we'll see if I can sell them a new pasture tomorrow. It's the next day now, and if you can hear all the noise behind me, I think it's safe to say that the cows are ready to move today. So let's not make them wait any longer. Let's get it done. Well, that went fairly well, but I've got a few that didn't quite figure out what we're doing, so got to run down on the side-by-side and show them the way. There aren't many things in life as satisfying as that sound. I love putting cows on new grass and just kind of watching them and listening to them eat. Even though I've only been doing this for a couple of days, I can already tell that there are some new parts and pieces that I'd like to get. For one, I want to get some PVC pipe to put over the T-posts here at the end. I think I touched on that earlier. That's going to really simplify things for me, and then it'll kind of eliminate another place for that wire to ground out. Another thing that I want to get at least like 2 or 3 of would be some geared reels. When I have to wind these wires up to move them, it just takes forever, and I think a geared reel would probably go a long way towards solving that. I wouldn't mind having a new tester too if I'm going to be doing electric fence all the time, and I'm also thinking about maybe separating these pastures with like different solar boxes, just to kind of increase the voltage that I can get on that wire, and then it'll kind of help isolate problems as well. So now I guess I got to go set up another fence and do this all over again in a day or 2. I think I better get used to this. This is probably about what my summer is going to look like. Thanks for hanging out with me today, guys, and I hope I'll see you again on Farmer Tyler Ranch.